Hello, I'm Arsen Kashkashian, head buyer here at the Boulder bookstore, and I've got a few books I wanted to talk to you about today. So hopefully you can find something in these that might strike a chord with you. So, as the pandemic goes on and on and on, the big question of our lives is, how do we get to the other side of it eventually? What's that going to look like? And so these are some of the ways that I am dealing with that and trying to get through this day by day and also think of happier times to come in the future, hopefully. So probably the first real take on this pandemic in kind of an intellectual way, a real thinking way, is Zadie Smith's book, which just came out, Intimations. And this is a series of 6 essays. They're very personal, they're very moving, they're conversational. And in the introduction, she talks about, before she started writing these, she picked up for the first time in her life the classic Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, who was a Roman emperor. And this is kind of the classic in Stoic philosophy, where he talks spiritual and ethical reflections, and he talks about kind of everyday life and provides you guidance on how to live your life. And so, not that she's recreating this, but this was kind of the starting point. And I just wanted to point this out because it could offer solace for many people. And we have so many different editions of this book because 2,000 years later, this is still a bestseller. So here's kind of the modern library edition, and then also this kind of beautiful hardcover edition from Penguin's Classics. So to get back to Zadie Smith, she's talking about kind of everyday life, just what it's like to wander, to be in the world in isolation. Most of these essays were written in the first 2 months of the pandemic. So we're talking maybe March 20th to May 20th, when we really were feeling very isolated, I think, at that point in time. And she talks about everyday things, whether it's a person she sees on the street, a person she comes in contact with, her own thoughts and feelings. And she's just a great observer of human beings. She's a great observer of herself and her feelings. And I felt like she's able to give voice to some of these things that I'm feeling, but have not quite got my head around and to be able to articulate it. This is not meant to be a political thing or anything, or a history of the pandemic, but it's just one person's inner feelings, and one person who is a great writer. So I feel she can talk in a way that so many of us can relate to. So the other thing I've been doing, besides for thinking about things, is I've been hiking a lot. And so we have plenty of copies of Boulder Hiking Trails by Ruth Carol Cushman and Glenn Cushman. This is the classic. There's so many great hikes in here. So on Sunday, just a few days ago, we went up to the Rollins Pass, Moffat Tunnel, to do a hike. It was so crowded. I've never seen it so crowded. But thanks to this book and some other sources, and our experience, we knew that we didn't have to follow everybody else. So the first mile, everybody goes on the same trail. And then you can branch off towards Forest Lakes. And I would say only 15-20% of the people go towards Forest Lakes. The rest keep going straight. So we went towards Forest Lakes. And you go up there and you see this beautiful waterfall, and then we got to the lake. It's probably about a 3.5 mile hike total from the parking lot. And we get to this lake, and there's just one other group of people there. And then they left. And we had this beautiful mountain lake all to ourselves. And you could see the fish jumping occasionally. You'd see the birds over the lake. And it was just such a feeling of serenity in the midst of the chaotic lives we now have, and even the chaotic parking lot of that hike, suddenly to get to that lake where there's nobody. So I would strongly urge people to pick up a hiking book, to not just go to the 4 or 5 most popular trails. There's so many great places and so many places that you can really commune with nature still, even with all these crowds out there. Yesterday we did another hike, the South St. Vrain Trail, and we came upon this beautiful waterfall. And again, we had lunch there, and we were the only people there. And the reason we ended up there was we wanted to go to Brainerd Lake because we love to hike Lake Isabel every summer. And it was so mobbed we couldn't even get in. So we just went down the road 2 miles to the South St. Vrain Trail and came up with this beautiful hike. You're really in the woods. It's not that many vistas, but just the act of hiking, all the beautiful trees there, and then to come upon that amazing waterfall was really worth it. So, Boulder hiking trails, because you need to get out there, but you don't have to go where everybody else is. And finally, one of the ways I'm getting through the time is just looking at a 2021 calendar. Yes, we have calendars, and we're getting more and more as each week goes by, and we'll probably peak at Labor Day when we have the most calendars. But the date I'm looking forward to the most, I must admit, is this one, August 17th, 2021. It'll be my 20th wedding anniversary, and hopefully the world is going to be in a place where me and my wife can really go somewhere and have a wonderful time. And so when the world is getting me down, I look at my 2021 calendar and I just look at August 17th and says, we're going to get there and it's going to be better. So here we are at the Boulder Bookstore. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming to the store and supporting us. And I hope everybody's well, and get a 2021 calendar. It'll do you a world of good.